If Lighthouse has been cooking you, you're getting sniped off spawn or crossing the road, you want to farm the rogues at water treatment, or you just can't remember where your extracts are, then this Lighthouse map guide for 2025 is for you. Hey guys, I'm Ghost and welcome back to Tarkov University. Today we're breaking down everything you need to know about the Lighthouse map and Escape from Tarkov. In this video, we're going to explain the map layout and key landmarks so you can orient yourself quickly off spawn. We're also going to cover every primary PMC and Scav extract, highlight the priority keys you should keep if you find them, go over the best loot and some of my favorite loot routes, talk about all the Scav bosses you can come across here, discuss how to easily farm the rogues, explain how to unlock the Lightkeeper and discuss why you should have this as a goal, and lastly, I'll be dropping PvP and survival tips all along the way. Lighthouse is one of those maps where you can get rich or get deleted from many different angles if you don't know what to expect coming here. Let's get into it. Lighthouse is basically a long strip of land that runs north to south. It looks simple on paper, but in raid it's absolute chaos because the sightlines are disgusting and the high traffic areas are predictable and completely unavoidable. I think it is safe to say that this map shares a lot of similarities as the Ground Zero map. What I mean is that it is very linear and almost impossible to avoid PvP contact here. However, unlike Ground Zero, you will see that Lighthouse is an absolute goldmine and should be in your regular map rotation if you want to get better at PvP and also get rich. Firstly, to unlock this map, you will need to have progressed through the Tor questline. I recommend completing the Tor questline as soon as you can so that you will get access to all of the maps in Escape from Tarkov. The part of the Tor questline that unlocks Lighthouse for you is the task where you need to pay a mechanic $20,000. This can seem like a lot at first, but a fast way to get US dollars for free is to just scav maps like Reserve and Streets and loot every filing cabinet you can. Diaries, journals, SSD drives, flash drives, etc. All the loot like that vendors to Peacekeeper for a lot of US dollars. That is the method that I personally use to complete this task and unlock the Lighthouse map. Now once you've unlocked Lighthouse, we're going to use my favorite method to break this map down and understand how it works. And of course, I'm talking about the old adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. This is how I think about Lighthouse. I like to split this map into 5 major zones that you're actually going to be playing around. The first section runs from the southern road all the way west to the shoreline. Once you get there, it's all the way up the beach to the bridge in the middle of the map and then back down the middle road to where we began. Section 2 is going to contain both the upper and lower chalets. Section 3 contains the village and the mountain passage by the lake. Section 4 will be the entire water treatment plant and the armored train area. And lastly, Section 5 will be the peninsula, Lighthouse Bridge, and the Zriachi territory. Also some quick map facts that matter. Lighthouse has a 40-minute raid timer and you can usually encounter 10 to 12 PMCs when you come here. Let's start by breaking down Section 1. This is where a lot of raids start feeling like a horror movie. Down here you're going to find open roads, long sight lines, random angles, and someone is always posted up somewhere. If you spawn here, you need to be on your guard immediately and aware of the other possible PMC spawns in your vicinity. I'm going to show you this entire area as if we spawned in at the southeasternmost point on the map. If you look here, I'm talking about this spawn that's by the southern road extract. Usually you spawn in facing the mountain, and if you look to your right, you'll see the southern road extract just beyond the small construction area. There are no PMCs around you here, so this is considered a very safe spawn point. There are about 2 different routes you can take from here, but the one I'm going to show you right now is heading down the road and to the west. If we just follow this road, we will come to see a tank, and way beyond that, you'll see the lighthouse area. Do not head towards this yet because there are landmines all along the road that pretty much make it impossible to access. We'll cover how to get there later in the video because it won't be relevant to you when you first unlock this map. Now once the road curves and begins heading north, this is where it starts to really open up. If you look on the map, you will see that at this intersection, we are smack dab in the middle of about 3 different PMC spawns, and that makes this push very dangerous. All the way up the right side of the road, we will find the chalet section, but let's head left towards the shore for now. Once we see the water line, that is a clear giveaway for where we are. You can also always see where you are relative to the lighthouse if you find yourself getting lost. The first major landmark we're going to see on the left is our landing stage. If we continue to head north, we will find ourselves in a very large open area with 2 large hills that create a sort of valley. If you are on either hill, you can basically see anyone along the shoreline or on top of the opposing hill. In addition to that, you will be able to see almost anyone on the opposite side of the road and in the area around the chalets. Again, this is why it's so easy to get sniped from almost anywhere on this map. Let's climb up this large hill here to the north so you can see what I'm talking about. As you can see, once we get to the top, almost the entire map is laid bare before us. If you want to come up here and do some sniping, I don't recommend standing on the top because most players that play this map know to check up here constantly for snipers. There are some cheeky spots that you can go to if you move just beyond the ledge though. These will give you some cover and it will still be possible to escape if you need to. Heading down the cliff and back to the shoreline is where we will find the boathouses. Heading north, we'll find ourselves at the main bridge that leads across to the water treatment plant. If you come this way, your safest way to get across the water is to avoid the main bridge and just take the small one positioned beneath it. Now heading back down the road to the south, you'll see a tiny construction area, and if we follow this road all the way down, it will eventually turn left and head back to where we began. Let's quickly discuss the extracts in the zone before we move on. The southern road is a PMC extract that is always available. To use this extract, just follow the highway all the way south along the road, turn left when it bends, and then head through the small construction area to the back. Once you get beyond the fence, your extract timer will begin. The Southern Road Landslide is a scav extract that is always available. This is essentially the scav version of the Southern Road PMC extract, and it's just nearby. If you're scavving this map, I recommend you learn this extract early. Follow the same way we took to the Southern Road extract to get here, but instead of going through the fence, just head down by the shoreline and your extract timer will begin. The hideout under the landing stage is another scav extract. To use this extract, just head over to the landing stage as we discussed earlier in the shoreline, and head sort of to the middle of it and your extract timer will begin. If you go under it and the timer hasn't begun, just keep going deeper, you haven't gone far enough. The whole southern end is more about hidden stashes or opportunistic loot than any meta rooms. You can find loose barter spawns all along the way here, but you don't really come to Lighthouse to loot this part of the map. The next section we're going to look at contains the two big luxury chalets that are up on the hill. This is one of the most important zones on Lighthouse, so pay attention. It's high value, high traffic, and it's where a lot of PMCs collide early. From this first perspective I'm going to show you, you can see what the chalets look like from the road. The one on the right is known as the upper chalet and it features the large tennis court, and the one on the left is known as the lower chalet. Let's take a look at this area once again as if we spawned at the Southern Road extract. For the last section, when we spawned in here, we turned around and headed west down the road. This time around, I'm going to show you the second possible route that you can take if you spawn here, and this involves us running up these hills directly in front of us. If we follow this route all the way up, we can keep climbing the rocks and eventually we'll find ourselves overlooking the main road. From this vantage point, you can see the lighthouse clearly and all of the PMC spawns in this part of the map. This is a great spot to get those Shooter Born in Heaven or Tarkov shooter quests done. Now let's head back down the cliffs a little bit and continue heading north towards the chalets. The first major landmark we're going to see here is the downed helicopter. There are various barter loot spawns around this, so it's worth checking out if you run by. There is this little chair overlooking the helicopter, and you can find some rare loot spawns there like moonshine and gold spawns. Now if we continue heading north, we will eventually run into the northern chalet. I'm going to show you every rare gold and high tier tech spawn that I hit when I come to this northern chalet. Follow me on this route real quick and I'll explain what I'm looking for at each spot since there are so many possible spawns. The first thing we're going to do is take a right over here and loot the safe over in this blue weapon rack. After we've done that, it's time to head inside the garage. Open this door to be fast, and then on top of this workbenches you can find gold spawns as well as military tech loot. On this ironing table you can find high tier ammo. Here's some AP 6.3. Gold spawns will spawn inside the shelf, so make sure you smash your face against it. On these chairs you'll find gold spawns as well as military tech spawns. High tier ammo can spawn on these little battery packs as well as this box. Gold spawns will be on this box. Here's a pro kill as well as around the pool table. Make sure you check on the ground and on all of these boxes. On these shelves over here, like for example, look, we found a costume. As well as on the TV stand. Next, it's time to head into the basement. More ammo can spawn on these boxes. Over inside this media room over here, you can find intel. Costumes and military items can spawn on these chairs. On the sand table is a gold spawn. If Found lions there before. Just break this glass to get through it, and then you can jump down into this little pool. There's 3 or 4 golden medical spawns there, so make sure you look around. High tier ammo can spawn on these lounge chairs. High tier ammo can spawn all over these boxes and inside them. I found high tier medical loot as well as military spawns inside of that broken crate. Up here there's a few gold spawns on top of this box as well as just behind it on the ground. Make sure you guys are using your scav to loot this map because oftentimes the PMCs that came here have missed high tier loot spawns. There are many PvP angles you're going to need to be aware of when you approach here as players are constantly discovering new angles to hold. The primary ones are just to be aware of the windows and up on the rocks behind the fence in between the 2 chalets. Also be aware that when you're inside the chalet, you can be sniped at by the players all the way across the map on the other side of the road. Now that we've explored the upper chalet, let's quickly head down to the tennis court. This is actually a great spot to loot as well. There are loads of weapon crates and toolboxes around here, as well as some med bags and dead scavs to loot. Now if we continue running north through the gate beyond the upper chalet, we'll find ourselves in this forested area and we'll need to climb down to get to the lower chalet. You can either walk through the trees or just run down the rocks like how I'm going to do here. One quick way to tell the chalets apart is the upper chalet has the tennis courts and the lower has this big garage. It's without a doubt that the upper chalet has far better loose loot spawns, but let's quickly run through a few here. If we head into the garage, we can find some good barter items all along the back wall here, as well as weapon and armor repair kits around the workbenches. If we head upstairs, sometimes we can find gold spawns, but this is also a good place to get a vantage point on the chalet if you're fighting someone here. If we head back downstairs and into the car area, there are usually a few crates and a med bag. The loot inside the garage is decent, but let's head over to the chalet. Inside the chalet, there are some great green crates that you can loot here, as well as heaps of loose weapon mods, medical spawns, and ammo all around the building. I typically will just hit the safes upstairs or the green crates and then head into the pool table room and loot the dead scav. If you head over to the back patio, you'll find that there are solid gold and military tech spawns on these chairs all around the tables, and these are often overlooked, so always take a peek. There are some good key-based loot areas all around the chalets that you'll want to consider checking out. The USEC cottage room key opens up a room in the garage around the lower chalet, and behind the lock you'll find loose valuable and currency spawns. While you're at the lower chalet, you can also use the USEC cottage first safe key to loot a safe. This is not your typical safe, and behind the lock you'll find gold spawns as well as some solid military tech loot. The other safe worth opening here is the USEC cottage second safe key. This is similar to the first key, and behind the lock you'll find more gold spawns and more military tech loot. We'll continue to cover relevant keys for each area as they come up. The extract in this area is one of my favorites if I came in to loot the chalets, and that is the Mountain Pass extract. This is a PMC extract that is always available and is located between the 2 chalets. To use the Mountain Pass, you'll need to have a Red Rebel and paracord, and you can't be wearing an armor vest. If you've met all of those requirements, just head to the back wall behind the forested area in between the 2 chalets and your extract timer will begin. If you're a Red Rebel gamer, this extract is chef's kiss because it can dodge a lot of the road sniper nonsense. Next up is section 3, and this is the village and mountain pass area. Think of this section as the connective tissue of the lighthouse. Most rotations pass through here, such as the south spawns up to the chalets or the chalets to the water treatment. A lot of players and scavs will also be coming through here to use the path the Shoreline extract if no other one is available to them. First, let's go over the major landmarks you'll see here to orient yourself as if you're approaching from the main road. The main town has a store closest to the road by the bus stop, and behind that is a great building that's full of loot. If you move into the town, you may notice that it starts to look very similar to what you'll find on Shoreline or Woods. If we turn left and head north, we'll find ourselves at the broken down section of the town, and if we keep going, then we'll end up at the water treatment plant. If we continue pushing east through the town, we'll see the lower lake area and the mountains that lead up and around to the passage by the lake. If you climb up these mountains, you can wrap all the way around to the back of the water treatment plant. Just hug the outside of the wall and you'll find your way to arguably one of the most frustrating spawn points on the map. If you've ever spawned here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are 2 spawns here that are almost always forced to fight to the death. One of them is right here and it overlooks this ravine heading down to the lower town, and the other is just behind the edge of the mountainside over across there. Now what typically happens is that the player that spawns here camps the spawn around the mountainside, and when they come around the bend, they get picked off. This player could choose to move in the opposite direction, but the reason these spawns always fight is because they are the best spawns to get to the water treatment plant first. Now, if you happen to get the spawn behind the edge of the mountainside pictured here on the map, I want to show you your two options. Option 1 is to go down and around the corner like I said, but know that there's most likely a player up around the hill and you're going to have to deal with them. Option 2, however, is much better. If you spawn here, just turn around and head through the lake into the water treatment plant. Look at the map here. If we head directly west to the plant, we will be forced to navigate the minefield and the claymores. This is possible, but you will also find yourself more exposed to the rogues if you come this way, and it's unnecessarily dangerous. The way that I like to go is through the lake. This will bring you to the back of the treatment plant and give you great angles for dealing with the rogues. Follow me here as I show you the way. Just head around the lake and down the hill behind it, and you'll find yourself staring at the backside of Building 3 of the water treatment plant. Before we move on to discuss the rogues and attacking the water treatment plant, we need to cover the extracts in this area because they're very important. The path to Shoreline is a PMC and Scav extract that is always available and is located in the middle of the map. Because of its location, this makes it one of the most easily accessible extracts on the map if you find yourself staying around the chalets or the village. To find the extract, just head through the village and stay to the right. Make sure you keep your guard up as you approach, as players can be sniping from the mountains in the distance or off to the right behind the trailer. Anyways, just keep heading into the corner behind the trailer and your extract timer will begin. There are two keys that you're going to want for this area. The first is the hillside house key. This opens up the house here shown on the map. Behind the lock, you're going to find some loose gold spawns, as well as loose military tech such as the vertex and the phased array elements. The other key you're going to want to get your hands on is the Leon's hideout key. This opens up a door inside the house shown here, and behind the lock you can find an insane amount of loot. The loot you can find here is including but not limited to a red keycard spawn, graphics card spawn, gold spawns, military tech spawns, red rebel spawns, and heaps of weapons, armor, and other gear spawns. This is an awesome room that's worth your time. Alright, now we're going to talk about the big one, and that is the water treatment section. This is where dreams come true, or where your soul leaves your body if you wide swing an angle. If we look at the map here, each of these red and yellow areas are full of landmines, so you'll be blown up if you step on them. The first of your primary landmarks inside the water treatment plant is going to be the helicopter. This is located just here in front of the three large buildings. Now the callouts for these buildings are as follows. The building on the left's callout is building number 1. The middle is building 2, and the one on the right is known as building 3. There is so much loot inside these buildings that going into each of them and looking around is highly worth your time. Behind the water treatment plant is the train yard. There is a lot of solid loot around this place, especially inside the warehouse. If you decide to come to the water treatment plant, your extracts are actually very convenient. The road to Military Base VX is a car extract that is sometimes available. To use it, just head east down the road in between the plant and the train yard. Just keep going down this way and you will see the taillights of the car if it's there. If it is there, just approach it, pay the driver, and your extract timer will begin. The cost to use the car varies depending on your scav karma. If you plan on trying to take car extracts in your raids, I always recommend keeping at least 40,000 rubles on your PMC. The next extract over here is known as the Northern Checkpoint. This is a PMC extract that is always available. To use this extract, just follow the road all the way north beyond the plant and past the train depot and you will see the checkpoint. Head to the back and your extract timer will begin. The armored train is an extract that is always available. The train will honk its horn upon arrival and it will always arrive between 15 and 20 minutes left in the raid. When the train does arrive, it will stick around for precisely 7 minutes. You'll know the train is about to leave because it will honk its horn just 1 minute before departure. After that, if you hear the train honk twice, that means it's closing its doors. The armored train is a reliable way to get out if you have pushed this far into the lighthouse and stuck around late in the raid. The scav hideout at the grotto is a scav extract that is always available. To find this extract, if you are approaching it from the south, just follow the shoreline all the way until you find the grotto. Just entering here is not enough, you will need to climb up and over the rocks and jump behind in order to find the extract. The next extract is the Industrial Zone Gates. This is a scav extract that is always available. To use it, just head east along the road in between the plant and the train yard as if you are heading toward the car extract, and then once you get to the gates, your extract timer will begin. The last extract over here is the Passage by the Lake. This can be a useful extract if you are in a bad way and need to get out. Keep in mind that you will not be able to use this extract unless you have found a special note in your current raid. If you have found this note, just head up into the hills east of Building 3 and go around the lake. Once you reach the mountains beyond it, your extract timer will begin. Now that we've covered all of your ways out, we need to cover the other threat you're going to face inside the water treatment plant apart from many PMCs and player scavs, and that is going to be the rogues. As of the making of this video, Lighthouse is the only map with rogues as a major faction, and they man mounted machine guns, grenade launcher emplacements, and have some laser aimbot, so you need to be careful. Being aware of rogue behavior is super important because they do behave a little bit differently than scavs. Rogues will automatically engage enemies that come too close to the water treatment plant. They do tend to be more lenient toward the USEC faction, but they will shoot if you don't leave, and if a USEC fights them, they will remain hostile for the following 3 raids. I'm sure there are more, but I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can get into the water treatment plant. The first way that I'm going to show you is my favorite way, and that is if you spawn up by the lake on the eastern side of the map. As discussed earlier, just head north beyond the lake and then turn west and come down the mountainside, and you'll start to see the rogue positions. There are a total of 7 gun positions you need to be aware of inside the water treatment plant. There is 1 on building 3, 2 on building 2, 2 on building 1, and then 2 up by the southern entrance to the water treatment plant. Once you learn where these are, just slow peek them and aim for the head. If there are rogues on top of the buildings, they are usually manning the gun platforms. But note that that's not always the case, and so be careful when you come up here. There can also be rogues that spawn inside the building, so be careful when you enter those, and listen out for their obvious voice lines. Once the gunners are taken down, you are free to move much more freely around the plant. After I've taken out the gunners and moved into building 3, I like to use the windows in the office areas to snipe the remaining gunners. These angles can be useful to safely pick off players or player scavs that are running around on the rooftops or in the main area. Okay, now we are going to look at attacking the water treatment plant from the front. The way I like to do this is to head across the low area next to the bridge and push up along the wall. If you follow this wall, you'll come across a hole on your left that you can jump up and over into. What I like to do if I enter this way is to take out as many rogue gunners as I can and then scan the area for players that came in through the other side. After the rogues have been dealt with, you are free to move on to looting however you like. I usually just head into building 3 and then 2 and then 1 and then extract if I'm ready. Now let's look at attacking the plant from the west. Be wary of the landmines around here and know they are all positioned outside the plant, so once you penetrate the wall, you're good to go. If you choose to attack this area, this is the one where you really need to worry about the gunners in the south part of the base. Once they are dealt with, you can just approach the wall and head inside. As with the other angles of attack, from here you'll need to eliminate as many other rogue gunners as you can. I like to always start with the ones closest to me, which in this case will be building number 1. Once the rogue gunners are dealt with, you're free to continue with your quest or looting however you wish. There are a few keys that you're going to want to pick up if you're coming over here to the plant. The operating room key opens up a door located inside building number 1, and this will be required for the quest Broadcast Part 1. The police truck cabin key opens up the door to the police truck located here on the map, and intelligence folders can spawn in front of the car seat. The rogue USEC barracks key opens up a door inside building number 3. Behind the lock, there's a Bitcoin spawn in the chair, as well as a few loot boxes and loose weapon mods. The rogue USEC stash key opens up the cabin shown here, and behind the lock you'll find weapon crates and weapon mods. The rogue USEC workshop key opens up the cabin located here and is a reliable way to get tank batteries, as one can spawn just under the table. And lastly, the water treatment plant storage room key opens up a room inside building number 2. Behind the lock here you'll find some great loose military tech, as well as posters and other valuable spawns. The last section of this map contains some endgame Tarkov stuff. The bridge is heavily guarded by the scav boss Ryachi, who is a deadly sniper, and he is always accompanied by his bodyguards. In addition to that, the entire road heading over here is full of claymores. If you want to cross safely, you're going to need to get the encoded digital secure DSP radio transmitter. This device is going to be used to deactivate the claymores and also signals to Ryachi to not shoot you in the face. Also note that if you do ever harm Ryachi or his followers, your DSP device will be decoded and you're basically back to being unwelcome. I highly advise that once you unlock access to the lighthouse that you never kill anyone over here besides AI scavs or PMCs. The quests to become friendly with the Lightkeeper again are incredibly annoying and best to be avoided. Now, to unlock access to the lighthouse, you need to complete this list of quests before you can even unlock the lighthouse questline. I'm not going to pad the runtime of this video by reading all of these quests or explaining how to do them, but I will show them on screen for you now, and you can take a screenshot if you like. This video is supposed to be a map guide and not really a quest guide. Now, once you have done all those quests, you will finally get access to the quest Network Provider Part 1. This is the start of the quest line that's given from mechanic that will lead you all the way to your access to the lighthouse. Again, we're not going to cover all of these quests because they're pretty self-explanatory once you get them, but what I am going to do is give you all of the items you're going to be required to collect for these quests once you unlock them. Since it takes forever to get to this quest line, you can actively be saving these items all throughout your playthrough. Then once you finally come across this quest line, you can just turn the items in because you've already collected them. This will greatly speed up your progress to unlocking the Lightkeeper. So all of the items you'll need with the found in raid status for this quest line are as follows. You will need 4 electronic components, 5 military COFDM wireless signal transmitters, 4 gas analyzers, 4 broken G-phones, 15 SJ1 stims, 5 SJ6 stims, 1 SJ9 stem, 2 pieces of plexiglass, 1 insulating tape, 2 military circuit boards, and 1 working LCD. Now the keys you're going to want to pick up once you unlock the lighthouse area are as follows. First up is the radar station commandant room key. This opens up a room right near the front of the entrance once you cross the minefield. Inside, you're going to find a few gold spawns, other loose loot spawns, and even an intelligence folder spawn on the desk. The shared bedroom mark key is located just nearby, and behind the lock you'll find typical marked room loot. This of course includes gold spawns, weapons, containers, currency, and keycards. The conference room key unlocks another room nearby where you'll find a PC block, gold spawns, ammo packs, and even electronic and medical loot. Next, let's discuss the scav bosses that you can find on Lighthouse, and that is going to be the goons. There are 3 rogue bosses that make up the goon squad: Knight, Big Pipe, and Bird Eye. The goon squad can typically be found up by the chalets or all around the water treatment plant. Although they do have designated spawns, they tend to move around a ton, especially when they're engaging players. If the goon squad is up and active, you can usually tell they're shooting at you because their first volley towards you will be a load of rounds that flies over your head. The best way to deal with all of the goons is just to get them with headshots using larger ammo types like 7.62. The reason this is such an effective way to fight them is because they all have very good armor but don't wear helmets. Since they're not wearing helmets and they only have 70 to 80 HP in their head, you can easily one-tap them. Now let's get into some of my favorite loot routes on Lighthouse depending on where I spawn. Keep in mind these are loot focused routes. If I'm questing, I'm usually not stopping to vacuum up every building. If I need barter items or I just want a safe raid, I'm just going to loot the village and then take the path to the Shoreline extract. If I spawn near the chalets, I'm going to sweep the upper and lower or vice versa and then take the Red Rebel Mountain Pass extract. If I don't have the Red Rebel yet, I will just head towards the path to Shoreline, following the wall the entire way. I've already shown you all the good loot spawns in the chalets. The other loot route I'll typically do on this map is what I call a rogue run. If I want to be aggressive and farm the rogues, I'll just head to the water treatment plant and take one of the far north extracts out. I'm not going to rehash this as I've already shown you how to do that route. Alright, it's time for some parting tips that could help save your life when you head to the Lighthouse map. Number 1 is to check your extracts immediately after you spawn in. Lighthouse can rotate your entire plan based on whether you're doing Southern Road, Path to Shoreline, Train, or doing a VX play. Number 2 is to assume that a player is watching you from every ridge. If you cross the road without cover, you're basically consenting to being headshot. Number 3 is to treat the water treatment plant like a military base and not a loot mall. Make sure you slow clear as you move, isolate your angles, and never wide swing the mounted guns. Number 4 is that if you're USEC, don't get complacent around the rogues. Although the rogues can be more lenient with USECs, they are still deadly, and if you fight them, you're marked as hostile for future raids. Number 5 is I would advise against freelancing the Lighthouse Bridge. If you don't have the DSP situation handled, the bridge is full of claymores and a scav boss. It's not a let's just see what happens sort of bridge. And number 6, of all the maps in Tarkov, Lighthouse is one of the best maps to take your players scav to. This can really help you learn the map, and PMCs usually miss a lot of the loot as they pass through. And that is your complete Lighthouse map guide for 2025 and Escape from Tarkov. If this guide helped you out, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Tarkov content. If you want to support the channel even more, consider clicking the join button and becoming a member, or heading over to our brand new merch store and picking up some cool gear. Let me know in the comments if there's a specific guide you'd like me to do next. If you have any more questions or want to find squad mates to run raids with, feel free to join our Discord, the link is in the description. As always, thanks for watching guys, I'm Ghost, and I'll see you in the next raid.